On this edition of Oxford News This Week, council member ends 3 decades of service, who hauls your trash, and a bridge over troubled waters. All that and more. The Oxford News begins right now. After nearly 30 years as volunteer for the Leonard Village Council, council member Charlene Sotheby announced that she will be leaving the community. Appointed to council in 1991, she also represents the village on the Oxford-Addison Cable Commission, the Historical Committee, and for many years, the Leonard Strawberry Festival. Dan Sotheby, Char's husband, served on the Village Parks and Recreation Committee and was a firefighter for Addison Township. Moving into the community in the 1970s, the couple raised their children in Leonard, but will now be moving to Char's childhood neighborhood of Houghton Lake to be closer to family. Her service to all of us will be dearly missed. Much luck to you and Dan Char in your future adventures. Jim?
A 25-year-old Oxford Township man was arrested for assault with an intent to murder after firing a gun at his ex-girlfriend, new boyfriend, according to Oakland County Sheriffs. The 39-year-old victim walked to the girlfriend's car when the ex-boyfriend pulled into the driveway, shouted he was going to kill them, and fired shots, hitting the truck at least 7 times. The suspect later contacted the sheriff's office, turned himself in. He was arrested without any other incident. Terry?
Addison Township officials want to know how you're getting along with your trash service. According to reports, some residents are having a hard time getting their trash picked up because the companies prioritize larger contracts with other municipalities. So the board voted unanimously to create a survey to gather residents' input. A link to the survey will soon be on the township website at addisontownship.org, and a paper form will be available at the township hall. Jim?
Residents of the Stringy Lakes Peninsula were surprised earlier this month when a sign went up reducing the load limit on the bridge, the 9 tons. The bridge is the only access to their homes, Maloney, and limit of the 24-foot bridge means both buses and garbage trucks will not be allowed on the peninsula, causing a bit of a problem. Terry?
It's impossible to know how many people have come through the gates of the camp at Lakeville Lake, but according to Lieutenant Colonel John Turner, a few hundred of those have attended Echo Grove Camp and Retreat Center over the last century, and they've returned to the grounds last month to celebrate its 100th birthday. The open house reunion featured camp activities like pontooning, hay rides, crafts, and an opportunity for campers to swap old memories over photos. Since 1921, people have attended the 200-acre camp to enjoy camping, sports, swimming, boating, and most of all, learning about spiritual growth. Today, Echo Grove has 40 buildings housing 455 beds. A new groundbreaking was also celebrated at the anniversary celebration, and when complete in about a year, it will seat about 600 people. Happy anniversary to Echo Grove. Jim?
Echo Grove, a great place to go.
Yeah.
Thanks to the North Oakland Transportation Authority, Justin Wilcock is back in the classroom. He's expanding his skill set, pursuing a dream. The 42-year-old Village of Oxford resident recently began taking classes at Oakland Community College, something he thought might not be able to do. Work towards a degree in management development. Wilcock uses NODA due to the visual impairment, and thanks to NODA, he will not have to rely on family and friends for a ride to the college. NODA has been offering publicly subsidized door-to-door transportation for senior citizens, individuals with disabilities, and low-income folks living in the area. Oxford, Addison, and Orion Townships, and the Village of Oxford, Leonard, and Lake Orion. Totaling more than 32,000 rides per year, he's now going to be able to get his degree. Pretty good. Terry?
The Oakland County Water Resource Commissioner's Operation and Maintenance Division will be flushing Oxford Township's water system from Monday, October 18th through Friday the 22nd. Flushing will occur daily between the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Flushing consists of opening fire hydrants at the end of roads and courts. This will allow a higher volume of water to scour the water mains and remove settled iron from the system. If you have any questions regarding the flushing, go to www.oakgov.org or call the WRC Billing Services Unit at 248-858-1110. Jim?
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, Disaster Survivor Assistance Team will be in Macomb and Oakland counties to serve severe storm and flooding neighborhoods now eligible for individual assistance. More information to visit them is 222.disasterassistance.org. You can contact them via their phone number. It's 800-621-3362 from the hours of 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. if you might have sustained any storm damage. Independence Village of Oxford is partnering with the Oxford Senior Center to host the following 3 events, which covers a variety of topics to help senior safety: self-defense, boundary setting for the senior, community, how to protect yourself from phone scams and phishing, and how to safely use and discard prescription medication. For more information on Independence Village of Oxford at 248-236-8300. On Tuesday, October 19th, the Apothecary and Company is presenting How Can We Prevent and Help Empowerment of Our Own Health Care. For more information, contact the Oxford Parks and Rec Department at 248-628-1720. That's going to do it for our edition of Oxford News this week. The news part of our edition. We'll be back shortly with sports with myself and Dave Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News.
One of our biggest problems today is that we are afraid to have others challenge our mindset, and therefore we avoid topics that could lead to challenging conversations. At a young age, we're told not to talk about anything that is remotely divisive. But without having challenging conversations, how do you know that what you're saying is your truth and not just something you were raised to believe? Having conversations is how we learn. It's important to be able to see the other sides of things in order to form an opinion and choose what's best for you. Let's say you were raised to shower with all your clothes on. You can go through life thinking that is the best way to get clean, and if you never meet anyone brave enough to talk about hygiene, then you will never know that there is a better way. There's no reason to be afraid of differences. Limiting yourself to certain topics can render yourself unable to talk to friends, co-workers, or even family. To avoid challenging conversations is the same as to keep your mind trapped in a little box. Open your box. It's an American thing. AmericanThing.org.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company is recalling over 354,000 crossovers, one set from the 2020 to 2021 model years because their rear-view cameras may not correctly display images, and the other from the 2011 to 2013 model years over suspension issues. The global recall covers over 228,000 Explorer, Lincoln Corsair, and Lincoln Aviator crossovers from the 2020 to 2021 model years equipped with 360-degree cameras. Ford said the video output of these cameras may fail, which could cause the rear view image to cut out and thus increase the risk of a backover accident or crash. Dealers were notified on September 30th. The company said it expected vehicle owners to be notified by mail between October 7th and 14th. Ford said dealers will update the vehicle's image processing module software. In a safety recall report filed with NHTSA, Ford said 2 accidents were associated with the recall. No injuries have been reported, the company said. A U.S. recall affects 126,033 Explorers from the 2011 to 2013 model years, and Ford said the vehicles might be equipped with a cross-axle ball joint replacement part that may seize up. The automaker said that could result in a fracture of the outboard section of the vehicle's rear suspension toe link. The recalled vehicles were originally sold or are currently registered in many states, including Michigan. The automaker notified dealers September 30th. Auto owner notification are expected to be mailed between November 1st and November 5th. Ford said dealers will inspect the vehicles for the presence of a cross-axle ball joint. If one of any design is found, the dealer will inspect how tight it is and, if needed, will replace that part, the knuckle or toe link. In a safety recall report with NHTSA, Ford said the company is not aware of any accidents or injuries connected with that recall. In our next story, ABB has launched the world's fastest electric car charger, the Swiss engineering company said, as it presses ahead with plans to float the business, which could be valued at around $3 billion. The company's new Terra 360 modular charger can charge up to 4 vehicles at once and fully charge any EV within 15 minutes, the company said in a statement on September 20th. The device, which can deliver 62 miles of range in less than 3 minutes, will be available in Europe by the end of the year, the company said. The U.S., Latin America, and Asia-Pacific regions are due to follow in 2022. AB has been seeing rising demand for chargers and has sold more than 460,000 units across more than 88 markets since it entered the e-mobility business in 2010. The company wants to keep a controlling stake in the electrocharging business, but is seeking a spin-off to help with acquisitions of both software and hardware companies and attract capital for quick growth. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
This is the sound of confidence soaring.
Our mission is to educate, inspire, and honor.
This is the sound of honor roaring.
We should never, never forget those that gave their lives.
This is the sound of a generation rising above.
337 for Bravo Fox Papa.
We want to be involved in the education of young people so that they can take our aircraft and the stories that our pilots tell and realize their own dreams.
The Commemorative Air Force honors the heroes of yesterday while educating and inspiring the heroes of tomorrow.
Your future and how you live your life is dependent on how you think.
You can learn more at soundsofhistory.org right now.
Back with you on Oxford News This Week. Time for sports. Coming off of a dramatic win over Lake Orion a few weeks ago, the Oxford High School varsity Wildcats fell a bit short against the undefeated Class A Clarkston Wolves on the 24th. They came close, though, 20-17. Oxford did give the Wolves one of their toughest matches of the season, keeping Clarkston to their lowest score to date. Clarkston, now 5-0 in the league, had defeated Davison 29-26, Birmingham 38-7, Rochester Hills Stony Creek 34-13, and Southfield 56-27, adding Oxford as number 5 on their win list. Primary among those fundamentals to keep working on the field, the communication, which has been a reoccurring issue for the team of the Wildcats, according to Coach Line. The Wildcats 1-2 in OAA league play and 1-4 overall will travel to the banks of Rouge River this last Friday to play the Southfield High School of Arts and Technology. Warriors, that was from Southfield. Oxford improved with a 49-42 win. They must have listened to what Coach Line said. They did beat the Southfield team. Oxford now 2-4 for the season. So they are getting better, and of course they won that big game, Lake Orion. And we do have the copy of that. We've been broadcasting it through the weekend. If you get a chance, stay tuned and watch that Oxford football game in Orion as they came away with a big victory, very needed victory. Also, another thing you can watch, we are broadcasting it now. We were out at the school a few weeks back, watched the swim and dive competition on OCTV. Oxford did fall short to Notre Dame Prep, although it was a loss for Oxford. Again, with swimming and diving, a lot of personal bests were established that night in the natatorium here in Oxford. That's going to wrap it in sports. I thank Dan Zweiss in the back. He's our engineer today and producer. On behalf of myself, stay tuned. We'll have more with Dave Kenny has another segment on Oxford News This Week.
Every year, distracted drivers are responsible for nearly 2.5 million car crashes. The National Safety Council reports cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes. The NSC reports 1 out of every 4 car accidents in the United States is caused by texting and driving. Texting or reading text takes your eyes off the road for at least 5 seconds.
How you doing, ma'am?
So if you were traveling at 55 miles per hour, you're essentially driving the length of an entire football field blindfolded. Once a driver has been distracted, it takes only 3 seconds for a car crash to occur.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Some wild Goffin's cockatoos whittle tree branches into utensils that they can use to open and dig into tropical fruit pits. This is the first known instance of wild non-primate animals making and using tool sets, says Mark O'Hara and Weronika Mioduszewska at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna. O'Hara, Mioduszewska, and their colleagues regularly study wild Goffin's cockatoos in Indonesia. The team, that is, occasionally captures the small white parrots and keeps them in an outdoor aviary to observe their behavior before releasing them back into the wild. In the Indonesian islands, Goffin's cockatoos are the only known species to eat sea mangoes, a small tropical fruit toxic to humans. O'Hara offered the hard-pitted fruit to the 15 cockatoos in their aviary. Immediately, 2 of the larger and apparently older male birds grabbed a sea mango and flew into a tree to strip wood from the branches with their beaks. They also cut off whole branches and dug into the remaining pulp to mine out pulpy wood. Using their tongues and beaks, the parrots crafted the wood slivers into usable tools of 3 different sizes and thicknesses, O'Hara says. Then, aiming with their beaks, they artfully jabbed their cutlery into the fruit's pit. After I gave them the fruit, I looked back and was just blown away seeing a bird using tools on it, said O'Hara. The researchers collected the bird's discarded tools and created 3D models of them to better understand how they were made and the purposes they served. The thinnest tools were sharp like knives and let the birds pierce the pit's parchment-like coating, says O'Hara. Medium-sized tools work like spoons, allowing the birds to dig into the pit and pull out nutritious seeds. Sometimes the cockatoos also use the thickest tools as a wedge, prying the pit apart at its natural crack, which made it easier to shove their knives and spoons inside. They definitely knew the fruit, and they knew what to do with it, says O'Hara. The other 13 birds in the aviary nibbled on the fruit, but not the seeds, without using tools. This means that tool use is not innate in the whole species, but unique to a few creative and innovative individuals, he says. Just like us. Just outside the aviary, O'Hara's team also filmed one bird pushing a piece of wood against a sea mango. But deep in the rainforest, the researchers found perhaps their hardest evidence of the parrot's tool use in the wild, a half-eaten sea mango on the jungle floor, complete with a whittled wood fragment still thrust into its pit. Smart birds. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
If you had something that you were given, something you loved, something that others wanted so badly but were denied it, something that you used and relied on every single day. If you had something special, something beautiful, something powerful, if you had something absolutely essential to securing your health, happiness, and safety, if you treasured something so much that you were willing to die for that something, if you knew that others already had, and if someone had given you a document that protected that something, wouldn't you take the time to read it?
Thanks for watching Oxford News This Week. I'm Terry Stiles, and if you want to learn more about these stories and others, you can go to our Facebook page, our YouTube page. You can go to the Oxford Leader newspaper. You can also go to the Charter Township of Oxford Facebook page or our webpage at occtv.org. You're already watching us on TV at Spectrum Charter Channel 191 or AT&T Channel 99.
Many platforms to get what you need, always right here for you, 24/7. Anyways, how was your week? You doing okay?
Doing fine.
That's good. Well,
Yeah, it's been quite a week.
It's been quite a week. Yes, it has. I hope you stay tuned where we actually bring your news closer to home. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Oxford News This Week. Till we do it all over again, stay safe out there. Be careful. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye-bye. And thanks to Dan.